Hello my lovely crafty people, and today we're back with Scraptember. And if you remember, I'm doing this one a week. So I have done the masterboard, which was this one. I did the floating pocket, which I only filled the front pockets but using scrap. So today we are on specimen slides. Now I actually have got a die cut for specimen slides, so that's made my life a little bit easier. So what I have done already is cut out 3 specimen slide holders and then 6 of these slide casings. So what will happen is the slide casing will slide in and out like that. So I'm actually going to pop the specimen slides in here. I'm going to use sticky back plastic to house whatever it is I'm going to put in my specimen slides, and then we'll decorate these up maybe with some vellum and things like that. So I will gather all my bits and bobs together and then we will get crafting. And we're back, and you can see I'm just cutting the sticky back plastic to size, and then I will fold that to use it to make the specimen cards. So I decided I'm going to use my pressed flowers that I've pressed from my own garden to create these little specimen slide thingies. So I'll grab those in a minute. So these are pressed flowers that I've pressed over the last few years, and as I press them I stick them in this photo album. It's not the greatest way of storing them because you can see they do stick, but I need to have another think. Maybe I'll dust the pages with a little bit of talcum powder before I start sticking the next lot down. So just choosing some pansies. I think these ones are violets actually because they're little. So that'll do one. And what should we choose next? Oh, cornflowers. So there's some good colours here. Use the cornflowers. A range of colours, a few seeds. And that's for those ones. And next, nope. Aha. So these are, they're like yellow daisies. They're not chrysanthemums, I think they're osteopermums, whatever that's called, but basically yellow daisies. So opening up the sticky back plastic, I'm just going to stick a few of the flowers down, just arranging them, and then using my boning tool, just give it a really, really good stick down. What I did after I'd done all these is I paused the video and I used my heat gun just to melt it a bit and give it a really, really good stick down, so that like there's no air bubbles and all of that. I like pressing flowers. It's like a really kind of mindful thing to do. They don't always work out, but I press such a bulk of them that I end up with at least some I can keep. I do need to do some pressing from the flowers this year before they all go over. I find the brighter colour flowers press better, and the ones that are not too bulky. So I'm just going to kind of make it up a little bit so that it looks like it's actually on the stem. But I wanted those leaves in it as well, so cutting the stem shorter. And then add a blue one. And some of those seeds, just placing them around, looking like they're dropping off the bottom. So as I said, I did use the heat gun to melt them a little bit. I paused the video, gave the just a blast with a heat gun to melt the plastic a little bit, and then kind of pressed it really, really, really down so you didn't get the air bubbles or that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Opaqueness. So just going to distress up a little the frames just so they're not stark. And then we're going to glue them onto the slides that I've made. You can see where the heat guns melted the plastic around some of the flowers. So to stick them on, I am going to use quite a strong glue. I'm going to use my Yoo-Hoo, but not the liquidy Yoo-Hoo. I'm going to use the traditional one that's in the metal tube, just because it gives a really good stick and it dries clear. So just dotting some glue around the edge of the frame, placing it where I want. I'm not too fussed about the fact it's over the edge just yet, because I'll trim those off in a minute. And then as I was lining this one up, I realised I'd stuck the slide upside down. It's got one edge slightly wider than the other. And then just using my bulldog clips, just hold that down. And we'll do the same for the next two slides. So I know this is Scraptember, but most of this is scraps. The sticky back I've had for years, and then I used scrappy bits of card and stuff to cut out the slide templates and to cut out the specimen slides. So everything is from my stash. So yeah, it's kind of using up scraps, but I treat my stash as scraps as well. Just making sure that's all stuck down. And then just trimming off the edges. And then to let these dry, I did pop them inside a heavy book so that they just dried flat, because otherwise the Yoo-Hoo will crinkle a little and just pull them out of shape. Now moving on to doing the actual specimen slide holders, I've grabbed one of my stamps and I'm just going to stamp, it's almost like a rust effect over the top of the front of the specimen slides. And you'll see I've also cut out some book pages that are the same size as the back that I'm just going to use to cover the back. That way you'll just be able to see what's on the slide a little bit better as well. Just making sure I've got those lined up and stuck in. And so I had a go at just using the glue stick to stick these tabs onto the top of the slide, and it really didn't work. It wasn't strong enough. It just went an icky, mushy mess, really. So I've grabbed my clear PVA, and I'm going to use that because, one, it will dry clear, and two, it will dry harder to just give these tabs a little bit of extra strength. And these are just die cut as well out of book pages. You see I've just cut some panels up on the corner as well. Not sure if I'm going to use those, but I will use something similar to create the specimen slide number label.
I enjoyed making these. I do enjoy making the little specimen slides. It's a great way of using up. Sometimes I've used stickers. I've got those PET stickers, the plasticky ones, that I have a whole abundance of. And it's a great way of using them up, really. So to stick the slide together, I'm just going to put some clear PVA around 3 sides. Grab my bulldog clips again and just clip them to hold it together. And number 3. Excellent. Just leave those to dry for a bit. And while they're drying, I did just grab some other bits and have a think about how I'm going to display those on the page. So you can see now I'm just adding some scraps of, I think it's handmade paper that I picked up. It's like tissue paper, just to add to the page. I have sprayed the page with some tea, and you'll see each of the slides I've put a paper clip on the back and just a little tag that I could write the specimen number. They were a little fiddly getting them into the sleeves, but once they're in, it works really well. And then I was like umming and ahhing about how I can display these on the page, and I thought, you know what, double up some masking tape. It's quite a flexible kind of pocket slidey thing that I can then use to hold the slides in place, and it's not too bulky or onerous either. I'm using my double-sided tape. I'm just going to affix those to the page. And then I will have my specimen slides almost floating on the page, but you know and I know they're stuck down. I've got a really bunged up nose today. I'm feeling really croaky. That's what happens when I try and video early in the morning. So just sticking that down on the page, and then that's Scrap Timber Part 3 done. I think my Scrap Timber's slightly out of sync because when I was writing down the prompts, I think I wrote a couple in the wrong order, but it's fine. We'll get there. By the end of this journal, we will have completed Scrap Timber. So you can just see how fiddly they are. But once they're in, they slide up and down. So thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you soon.